We brought the hood to the west side. WESTSIDE Radio.
What's going down, y'all? It's Julio G. Welcome back to WESTSIDE Radio. Look, I'm bringing all my friends, all type of different friends. I'm bringing one of my DJ friends tonight, world famous beat junkies, legendary DJ Rhettmatic. Welcome to the show, brother.
Man, Julio, it's so great to see you, brother.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Big dog. Man, I feel like we're like 92 point through the beat in K-Day.
All
right
back all over again, huh?
Yeah, man. Like I'm waiting for you to cue me in so I can.
No, but thank you for coming, Rhett. Rhett, I remember me and you, I think we met like on tour.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Seattle?
It was the KUBE Summer Jam for the big radio station up there. And you were DJing for Gerardo,
yeah.
And I was in a group called Brotherhood Creed.
Yeah, that's right. You had a big record too.
I guess, yeah.
At that time, that hell of a was a huge record.
But it was, I was just hyped because I was like, oh shit, that's Julio G. Because I remember at the time, you used to DJ from NAMM Ace.
Yeah.
And then next, and then I saw you DJing with,
When Rhettmatic's talking about Gerardo, we're talking about Gerardo Rico Suave.
Suave.
Yeah, I toured with him, had a great time with them guys, yeah.
But it was like, dude, I was more hyped just seeing you, like, I was like, that's how we met. I was like, yo, Julio G, you don't understand.
So. Pete Rock was there that day too. We all cut up a little bit,
yeah. It was like you, me, Pete Rock. I forgot who else was there. I want to say... Oh man, I think MC Brains.
Yeah. That's right. He was hot too at the time.
Nice and Smooth was there.
Yeah.
It was really cool. But just to meet you was like, because I grew up listening to you and Tony and the whole Mix Masters. So it was really dope.
Yeah, that's what I remember. I was like, man, I remember DJ Rhettmatic. First time I met him, we was in Seattle, man, cutting up on the stage at the sound check. You know what I mean? Yeah. I want to ask you. I always ask people when they come on. The name Rhettmatic, where did that come from? Who gave you that name, and what's the significance of it?
So my birth name is Nazareth. So my parents are from the Philippines. Most Filipinos are Catholics. So this is a story they tell me. We pray to God, if you give us a boy, we'll name him Nazareth. And I was like, after you, I was like, okay, well, how did I get Rhett? Well, our favorite movie was Gone with the Wind. So the main character is Rhett Butler. But I go like, well, Nazareth and Rhett are spelled, they don't like, it rhymes. No.
Wow.
That's how, so Rhett's my, so Nazareth's my birth name and Rhett is my,
kind of a nickname,
I guess,
so like a family nickname.
Yeah. So, but then how I got Rhettmatic was I grew up in Cerritos. People listening may not know where Cerritos is. It's a suburb in Southern California. It's LA County. It's like 15, 20 minutes from Long Beach. And there were three local DJs that I grew up listening to. One was this cat named Arabian Night. I used to be a K-Day Mix Master.
Yeah, he was for a minute, yeah.
Yeah, Curse. DJ
Curse.
And then there was this cat named Scratchmatic. Eventually he turned his name into DJ Antron. But is a joke. When he changed his name, my original DJ name was Fix, Phix. That was also my graffiti name, right? But then Curse would always, make jokes like, "Yo, man, Rhettmatic," and I was like, "Don't call me that. I don't want to think people are I'm biting his name."
Yeah. And back then that was such a big thing, trying to be original.
Right.
Yeah.
But it just everybody started calling me Rhettmatic, and it just kind of stuck.
And that stuck, huh?
Yeah. So
how did you get into DJing, Rhett? Where did that begin for you? Like, because you've been doing it for so long. You're like early beat junkies, of course, and you're early in the game. Like I said, I ran into you like maybe 91. No, it's like 92, I think.
Yes.
Back then. How did you get into actual DJing? What got you into that?
I think just like everyone that grew up here, at least in LA, it's the same with you. I know you were a B-boy. Fun fact, seeing you when you were DJing for NAMM Ace, I saw you and NAMM Ace on Pump It Up, and you did a 1990.
I probably did, yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
I remember you.
That's how we met, is breakdancing.
Right.
Yeah.
So because you did a 1990 on Pump It Up.
Yeah.
So as anyone that that grew up in LA, like you were into at least two out of the four elements. So I before I got DJing, I was really trying to be a popper and a graph artist, and then got into DJing. Eventually, DJing became more my calling and stuff. But yeah, I did what everyone.
You came in as a b-boy, yeah, like all of us. Yeah, that's how I came in as a breakdancer when I first started, and before that, popping and locking. Actually, when I was a kid, because it was just like normal in my neighborhood. It was just something we just all did. I want to ask you, like, when you got into DJing, how did when I seen you and you already with the group, how did that come about when you did this, you were DJing for Brotherhood Creed. How did you, get on a record and just like blow up like that? Because it kind of popped off. That record popped off.
The producer that made Helluva, he was Latino.
Okay.
And he was actually a house DJ, but he wanted to get more into hip hop, and then he was making hip house per se. So I did scratches for him, and then at the time he was like, "Look, you know any rappers?" So there was a local MC. He goes by the name of the Mac. I knew of him. I actually knew him as a popper, but he started his names getting as an MC, and then I didn't know him personally. But my best friend, his name is Tyrone. He knew him. He was good friends with him, so he actually connected me with him to jump on that hip house record, and then eventually the producer, his name was Aaron Arcee. He started, he's like, I'm gonna start making more records and stuff like that. And they eventually made the Helluva beat. And so he had him write the rhymes, the demo for Helluva. And then they started shopping it to like different labels, and eventually it got signed to MCA Gasoline Alley. So they were gonna sign him, but he didn't want to go by himself. So he brought my friend Ty, and then myself as a DJ. And then, originally it was supposed to be called Brotherhood Crusade, but there was, there was a organization named Brotherhood Crusade. So he changed it, and then they changed it to Brotherhood Creed. And then that took you out there because the record was popping. I mean, did you end up, because I met you on tour, but did they end up taking you out? Like, yeah, well, the interesting part was like when they got signed, I couldn't go yet. I was I was finishing up junior college, so so I wanted to, before I really jumped on, I wanted to for my parents, you got to get degree.
Education, of course,
so at least get my associate's degree, and then I jumped on with them, and then it started I got to go with them it's crazy, go to New York for the New York seminar, did some KML summer jams,
always dope. Yeah, those are fun.
And that, and then we even got on Soul Train.
That's right. I do remember that.
Yeah, so that I did
that was the beginning for you to kind of see what the music business is kind of about.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good way to come in though. You guys came in with something that you got to go out there and see the world with it. You know what I mean? That's always a beautiful thing. Yeah. I want to ask you, Rhett, why do you think Filipinos are so into hip hop? And what I've noticed is that they're really into underground hip hop. Right. They like all hip hop, but there is a big scene for underground hip hop with Filipinos. I always notice that they're always in the crowd. I always look at like the Asian community and Filipinos. I just always look at them as, they don't get their recognition for being there in the space of hip hop. Right. They don't really go and acknowledge that. You know what I mean? But I always had, because me from back in the days, I always wanted to put you guys on because I thought that community needed to have his voice, and that's where you came from, Icy Ice. And so I was hip to it because I would go out and see, and I would notice damn man, Filipinos really. And then the DJing came, and I'm like, oh wow, they're not playing with it. You know what I mean? But I was just wanting to ask you. I was wanting to know, why do you think it was so popular with them? I think like you said, just at least on the West Coast, or at least in LA, right? Yeah. If you really look at the history, especially from LA to the Bay, even San Diego, Filipinos were always, was just part of the culture. Whether it be listening to funk, new wave, whatever was of all the minorities hanging out with with the blacks, Latinos, the Asians. I mean, so, and if you really think about it, Filipinos here, at least in LA, have always been involved, whether we're DJing, breaking, or graffiti. Or graph, yeah. Right. Rest in peace to Nasty Ness. Yes. He's an OG. That the fact that he was a Filipino, even though he was in Seattle, is part of it. Just hearing that he was on Eazy-E's radio. Oh, that was big. Yeah. Right. And then we figured out that's a Filipino. Yeah. That was a big deal. That's totally a big deal. Yeah. And then there was also some b-boys. They're from Cerritos that actually were part of in the documentary Breaking and Entering. So, and then if you think about it, Cerritos, like I said, it was next door to Long Beach, Carson, and Hawaiian Gardens, Norwalk, and stuff like that. So there was always a some type of connection where okay, you got to go over there, you go over there. It's just And then growing up in school and everything, we all grew up together.
Yeah, totally.
I've always wondered that, you know what I mean? Because I've noticed like Filipinos really, especially the DJing side, you guys have done some damage on the DJ side. There's no question about that. You know, I want to ask you, when did you start the Beat Junkies? You guys all together. When was that idea of this group? When did this come about for you guys?
J-Rock's the one that started the group.
Okay.
We all met, obviously. If you really think about it, Julio, like around after K-Day went off the air, like I don't know if that was what. 89, 90, yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. Everybody's, and then the focus became more on the MC. People were thinking DJing was played out.
Yeah.
After Aladdin.
Yeah.
What else could you do?
Yeah,
like that, right?
For sure.
So, a lot of us, like how the Junkies were met, like we're still DJing, we were in mobile DJ groups, but, eventually, all our other people that we were DJing with, they kind of stopped. But then, we meet Jay here, we meet Ice here, this, like that. And we all hanged out and whatnot,
And you guys are kind of all from Cerritos area, like kind of in its own way. You guys kind of from that side of town, basically.
Yes. I mean, it's interesting because it's like, okay, like 4 or 5 of us is in Cerritos. Mm-hmm. Jay is originally from Orange County via Connecticut.
Okay.
Ice and Symphony, Ice and Symphony were in Carson.
Carson, that's right.
Babu was one of the last members to jump. He was in Camarillo, Oxnard. Mm-hmm. Mr. Chalk was obviously in Bakersfield. Shortcut and D-Styles, they were from the Bay Area, so a lot of people might not know that. Everybody knows them from the Invisible Scratch Pickles, but they were Beat Junkie members before they were Invisible Scratch Pickles.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
wow, that's interesting.
So, but Cerritos is kind of like the hub per se, because we would always practice at Curse's Garage. So it's like how you guys would practice at G Spot.
Yeah, right? Tony's. Yeah.
So that was our spot, right? Yeah. So Curse's Garage would be our spot. We would go hang out and practice.
And what was the beginning? It was like, hey, man, y'all want to get together? We should do a group.
Jay was the one that said that. He said, I've always wanted to have a group. It was crazy. So he used to work at a comic book shop. And so when he said, when we started a crew called the Beat Junkies, we're going to wear these Green Lantern rings, because he would get it from the comic book shop at work. And so when we started DJing around and then started entering battles, we wear all these Green Lantern rings.
Oh.
And so everybody like, who are these guys entering the battles wearing these Green Lantern rings? And that's kind of like how we started.
Yeah, I remember one day I seen somebody asked me to come to a DJ battle, and it was at Prince's old club, Glam Slam, right? And that was the first time I seen J-Rock, and I seen him cutting up Lords of the Underground. Oh. I live for the funk. I die for the funk. Oh. I remember. I'll never forget that. I was just like, wow, this guy's like really dope.
What's interesting about you say about that battle. So J-Rock was in that battle. I was in that battle. Shortcut was in that battle. Mm-hmm. Fatbox was in that battle.
I remember Fatbox.
Yeah. So eventually, ironically, Shortcut and myself end up being in the finals. So he won, I won second place. The prize was that we get to spin on Friday Night Flavors with the Baker Boys.
Okay.
And ironically, that's the first time we met Short.
Okay.
Yeah. So and then Short eventually became part of the Beat Junkies because of that battle.
Rhett, let me ask you about this. We as the mix masters, the 1580K mix masters, we always prided ourselves in just being like these great DJs, and then our scratch styles. So in our time, just for people to know, when we go back to 1580K, I was an original 1580K mix master. But
don't sleep on Julio.
Yeah, a lot of people know me just from the radio. They don't know that I started from this, right? But it was M-Walk had his style of scratch.
Yes.
Joe Cooley had his style. Yes. Tony had his style. We all like prided ourselves in our own different styles. And I think like, so people know, like, you could back then listen to the radio and not even hear who it is, and you could hear the cut and you'd be like, oh, that's Joe. Because that's how different we were. We just wanted to always be original to ourselves, even though we did all practice with each other. You know what I mean? Yes. You guys came, and it's like you guys took what we did, and I feel like you guys took it to another level when it came to the scratch part. You know what I mean?
Right.
Can you explain the difference in like what you consider our style, like our 80s style, and then when you guys came into that early 90s, it became more fadery. It was just a lot of different things you guys did that we didn't do at the time, and a lot of it had to do with the equipment also. But you break it down, Rhett.
Let me just say this: the Beat Junkies are almost like a counterpart, or like the K-Day Mix Masters are like our big brothers. You're our blueprint,
right?
Because we all of us listen to you guys growing up listening, on the radio. And you can always tell, oh, that's Julio, that's Tony. Like you said, everyone had their own styles and stuff like that. And growing up, that was, you had to come original. Like, of course, everyone would sound like, you when you first start, you're gonna bite somebody just to, to learn and stuff. But in order to get respect, you got to have your own style. Now, to go answer your question, I think it was just like, as you said, yes, equipment helped, but I think also too, like when DJing again was quote unquote played out, it went underground, and then there was, because when we were when we were starting, everybody's, "Oh, you still DJ and stuff?" But we were still like wanting to cut it up, and then we started hearing, about the New York seminar battles, and there were it was still going on, the DMC battles. If you were a hardcore a DJ battle during those days, those were the ultimate DJ battles. And then we started hearing about different crews, like obviously the Invisible Scratch Pickles, but they were known as the Rocksteady DJs. And then there's a group called the X-Men, we're now known as the Executioners. Right. So, and during those times, there was almost like a bubble where, ironically, New York, San Francisco, and LA, there was only a bubbles of like just people are still DJing, but they were coming up with new styles. We took the same styles that you guys did, but we added more flavor to it. Then we heard when Qbert or Mixmaster Mike come up with the new styles, we learned some of that stuff and incorporated that. And same thing with beat jungling when it came from the X-Men, we learned that. So the Scratch Pickles were known for their scratching. The Execution were known for the beat jungling. We were known for doing a little bit of both.
Yeah, no doubt.
And then on top of that, again, based upon what the Canadian Mixmasters, like, we also were like learning, okay, you should not only in battles, you have to spin on the radio, you have to DJ for rap groups, you have to know how to produce, you have to make a mixtape, you know how to rock a party. Yeah. That's what we learned from listening to you guys. So and we incorporating that into our style.
I always looked at it like you guys took it to like another phase, another level of the scratch part, and especially like when it gets down to Qbert, he took it to like a whole. Right. I think our era was more cutting. Toot, this way, and then like watching you guys do it, it's almost like backwards. What you guys do, it's almost like backwards because it's a lot of flaring, it's a lot of different parts with the fader. You know what I mean? Right. It's more of a fader. Our thing was more.
Right. But you'd be surprised though. We still do that.
No, I know you guys can, but it's really complicated when you try to, like, when you learn my way and then try to learn your guys' way. It was like, that's what made me appreciate it more. I was like, oh wow, this is really dope what these guys do. This is different. This is not. I'm used to the fader going this way. Oh, they do it this way. So it was really, really interesting. So I give all you guys props from all the way from here to the Bay. Absolutely, man.
Thank you.
Red, I want to ask you this also. Where do you find like music like nowadays? Now that it's so digital.
What's interesting? So like, I like Bandcamp.
Okay.
Bandcamp is digital, but like what I like about it, it's like it's a streaming service, but it's like if you're an artist, you can control it yourself.
Okay.
And most of the music, most of the listeners or the fan base can go. You can connect them directly. So if you don't have your own website, that's actually a pretty good platform where you can sell your your merchandise and your music, and and then the same thing, like you go, like say on Apple Music, if you search and you say you like this, they'll like suggest something.
Right.
It's the same thing too with Bandcamp, and then from there you just start going down a rabbit hole, right? And then from there it's just like there's links, and then eventually, of course, just doing if you still love music or whatever, you try to research. Luckily, there's other shows that I listen, of other DJs. I was like, what do you listen to? And then I go research and stuff. So it's like, for me, at least for digital Bandcamp. But then, and from there on, it's like, obviously with social media, like you follow, like say Alchemist. Alchemist is killing it. Al is killing it just because he made his own scene where he don't have to worry about the mainstream. He has he'll sell his music directly to his fan base.
Right.
So and then
he's built that. It's a built-in thing he's done.
Right.
No, it's absolutely right. And he's dropped some great music.
Man,
absolutely.
He's killing it. Yeah.
Absolutely. So. Do you think DJing is popular as it used to be, that kind of DJing, or like the thing that we do, like turntablism and scratching and cutting? Do you think it's still in that space?
Yes. It's interesting because people. If you don't, now it's all over the world. Man, we did, we've been doing the NAMM Show for how many years, but to have our own booth and have like guest DJs like DJ Reyna, who It was the 2017 DMC World Champion, the youngest world champion, beat A-Track's record. He won when he was I think 13 or 14.
Wow.
And he's from Japan.
Wow.
And he's 20 years old and he's killing it.
Wow.
Still, I mean, so yes.
So the ones that are killing it are killing it. 'Cause
killing
I
it.
have seen some people on like just social media, and I'm just like, and I really appreciate that. I always gotta, hit them with a like, because I really do appreciate when I see a DJ really cutting something up.
Yes, but the flip side about this, so this is the interesting part. A lot of them can do a lot of the technical stuff, but they don't. Some of them may not have the funk, and so luckily, the Beat Junkies, we have a DJ school. We started a DJ school 8 years ago called the Beat Junkies Institute of Sound. And one thing we've learned is that sometimes less is more. Yeah. Like keep it simple, make it clean. If you learn how your foundations, then you can, if you're really solid, then you can break the rules and do all that stuff. Right. But I always sometimes think, I like sometimes listening, like whether it be you or like Aladdin, because it's still funky. It's still. Oh, yeah.
We have a certain thing. You're absolutely right. It's like a musician. Yes. Yeah. We have our own little trip to our trip.
Right. Yeah. And at the end of the day, I don't think whether you're a DJ, a drummer, or a bass player, sometimes you just got to keep it simple so it can make the groove. People can follow the groove.
I'm going to tell you something about that. Now that you brought that up, when I first started 1580 K-Day, in the beginning, Tony was the one that pulled me to the side, and he said to me, "Hey, what I need you to do is go in there, and I need you to mix. I know you want to scratch." He told me straight up, "I know you want to scratch, but I need you to chill with that. I need you to focus more on the mixing part. I need you to put 2 records together the right way, and then that next record, it has to be this. So when you start with this record, it could be a little unfamiliar, but you make sure you come with something really familiar after that." And so that was his thing. And he said, cut here and there, but don't give it all up. Do that at the dance. And it's like, oh, okay. Now, at the time, I'm 17 years old. I haven't even turned 18 yet. This is like in September of 86. I'm going to be 18 in October. Right. So I'm 17 years old still at this time. Right. That was the formula that I used from there on for my success in radio, was kind of what he told me from that beginning. Less is more is basically what he was trying to tell me. When you want to show off, there'll be a moment for that, but hold that. Don't just spread it everywhere and do all that. So thank you to Tony G, because that was the best advice.
Tony, you brought it to us. Yeah. Because I mean, let me just say this. I want to give you your flowers. Is that, you helped half of us get on radio. Yeah. I mean, you brought Mello in, and
Ice.
You brought Ice, and then you brought Babu and myself in through Soul Assassins Radio. Yeah. And then, ironically, it's interesting, during that time, the Junkies were both on 92.3 The Beat and Power 106. Yeah. J-Rock and Mr. Chalk were in Power, where half of us were in.
Yeah, with us. Yeah. And the cool thing about that was that when you look back on it, Rhett, every time I came on, I was like DJ Melody of the world famous Beat Junkies. So it was like kind of like a commercial for you guys all the time. It was just always the world famous Beat Junkies, world famous Beat Junkies, DJ Melody, world famous Beat Junkies.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Let me say this. I remember when you got Mello, we just got back from Japan, and Mello just won the WESTSIDE World Championship. And then I think 2 weeks, you asked him to be on the radio, and he's just like, "Yo, Julio want me to be his DJ." He's like, "Oh shit, word." Yeah. So,
and it was funny because I didn't know Mello like that. He wasn't like my friend. I kind of took a risk a little bit because I just seen him DJ somewhere, and I just thought he was amazing. And I called him one day. I was like, "Hey man, you want to get down with me because I'm about to do a radio show." And he was like, "Dude," I told him, this is what I said to Mello. I said, "What do you do?" Mello goes, "Oh, I work at a bank." Yeah. And I said, "Right."
Wells Fargo.
Yeah, I worked at Wells Fargo, right? I said, I called him. I was like, "You work at a bank?" Because we didn't know each other, what I mean? I'm like, okay, I'm going to take a risk with this guy. I'm saying, Mello, what's up, man? Hey, what do you do for a living? I work at a bank. And I said, you want to work at a bank? You want to do something you love? He said, I'd rather do something I love. I said, okay, well, you start this day. Bring your turntables. Let's go. And that was the beginning of what we done. And he done some amazing work on the radio. And he took DJing to another level just through what he was doing on the radio. That was another level of DJ.
He brought the Beat Junkie style.
Oh, yeah.
Right. But here's the thing. Between you two, really, honestly, you guys change mixed show radio I mean, for real. We know already your pedigree, but the fact that it was interesting that you brought, like an OG as already he can do it himself, but it's like, let me get someone else here. But the way how you guys were,
the way I talked with him and the way we played it was like a 2-man team. And that's funny you say that. It's crazy you say that because it's true. I could have just DJ'd my own radio show. I DJ.
Right.
But that was the thing. My thing was like, okay, that's cool, Julio, but we can do that. But I just think this guy's dope. And I just think he needs to be heard. And that was more my concept of I want to have somebody shine because this is what they're loving to do. And right now I got to focus on this microphone and doing this radio thing.
Right.
I don't want to really do both. So that's what made me want to get, I want to have somebody shine. And like I said, it was the next generation. And I wanted to show that we have to give it up to the next generation. I'm not too big for that. It was like, oh, it's time for the Beat Junkies. Mix Masters was great. Now this is the Beat Junkies, and I'm introducing as Julio G. He's the Beat Junkies. DJ Melody, DJ Icy Ice, Curse, J-Rock came on. I mean, we had a little bit of all y'all in there, you know what I mean? So those are really great times. I want to ask you about NAMM because we brought it up earlier. How did you go this year?
Yes.
You guys had the booth out there, huh?
Yes.
What did you see this year that was something that caught your eye?
Right now, still, I think that what's king, at least in my personal opinion, the mixer, the Pioneer S11 mixer is king.
Okay.
If you haven't messed with it, you're gonna love it, Julio.
Okay.
So, but I mean, it came out last year, but people started using it. Obviously, Pioneer also had these turntables. It's almost like you can use it as digital or playing vinyl on it.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, if you know the Rain 12s, there's like no needles, right?
Right.
And then there's the phase, right? The wireless.
That's what I've been using, the phases.
Right. So, but Pioneers made these PLX, is it PDX 1000s? I forgot. They're gonna kill me. But you can play vinyl and you can do digital with no needles on it.
Okay.
Right. But I will say that Phase came out with a new version, which is they have a screen on it now too.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's I would say that's one of the biggest things right there.
I got to give you guys credit because I think a lot of you guys, those companies owe you a lot because they transitioned to make all their equipment to fit what you're doing. And that's a fact. That's one thing that these companies have gotten away with when it comes to like hip hop DJs. They got away with watching everything we did, how we did it, why the fader needed to be like this, why the level needs to be a certain way, and why the cutoffs need to be. Everything that you watch and people put into a mixer today or turntables or everything, it came from these guys like myself, other guys from the East Coast, from the old school, because we had to start on just the worst equipment. we had big old mixers. It was just, things were hard. They weren't made to be cutting. But now when you get on a fader, it blows my mind, Brett, because I just jump on something. I'm like, damn, this thing is flying by itself.
Before back then, you had to use Radio Shack. You used the WD-40.
Oh my God, bro. We used to go through so much just to get one little thing going. Don't break a needle, bro. Oh my God. Don't scratch a record.
Easy now.
Easy. Don't scratch a record, man. But like I said, I give you guys a lot of props because I believe that's something that needs to be said, that you guys are the ones that kind of pioneered that, innovated that, and that's where these companies all got together and started kind of working around you guys, what you were doing.
Thank you.
So mad respect, mad props, man. I also want to ask you, Rhett, what's going on with Kiku? How's he been, man?
Kiku's doing good. He's
you guys had a project at one time. You guys were Kiku and Rhettmatic.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then eventually we have a group called the Visionaries.
The Visionaries, yeah.
So ironically, you asked about Key. We're celebrating our 30th year for our debut album this year.
Okay.
So we're actually going to be working on some stuff. Visionaries, we're working on a new album too as well.
Okay.
So
and you've been producing, right?
Yeah. I've been lucky to be producing. I've been working with some independent underground artists and stuff like that. Of course, if I'm lucky, when Bobo's in town, I'll do Cypress Junkies stuff with them.
Yeah, that's fun too. Yeah, you and Eric Bobo together is a treat.
Man, when you and B-Real gave us the blessings, I was like,
oh no, for sure, man. It's all good, man. Yeah. I want to ask you about touring, Rhett. I know you've toured. I know you toured with Dilla. From what I heard, it was the last tour of his, huh?
Yes.
How did that come about, and how did you? And I want to ask you a few things, but how did that come about? How did you hook up with Dilla to go out on tour with him?
Well, when Dilla moved out to LA, because he basically moved out because of Mad Lib and Peanut Butter Wolf and Stone's Throw. And then he was roommates with Common, so he wanted to get away what was going on in Detroit and with his own issues and stuff like that.
And LA gave him a lot of love that people don't know, that we embraced him big in LA. Time. He got a lot of love here.
Funny story and stuff like that. You know, like when he said he moved out here, it's like, oh man, you're gonna start throwing the W's. And he's like, oh yeah. And then next you know, if you see pictures, you see him starting throwing the W's and stuff, because he, like you said, he felt the love over here.
I mean, we gave him a lot of love on the radio, bro.
I mean between you and
Melody,
you know, and the flavors,
Friday Night Flavors,
yeah,
we just put them on the map really, really quick.
Yes.
I mean, me and Mello would go like back to back. Like I'd be playing Get This Money, then he's playing Players. It's one night.
You know, Jazzy Jeff listened to you guys when he heard about Slum, right?
Okay,
he was like, well, what's this? And then like, you need to know.
Let me tell you a crazy story about that. One day I'm playing Get This Money from Slum Village, right? And Superfly calls me, because they used to have the hotline number. He calls me on the hotline. Hey, yo, man, what are you playing? And I thought it was whack to him.
Right.
Like, what are you playing? I said, oh, it's a group called Slum Village. Oh my God, I'm in the car going crazy right now. I need that beat. How can I get that beat? I'm like, oh, I'll just give it to you, bro. Like, you know, but you got to loop it off the. So Superfly went and did a beautiful song with LaToya Williams over Slum Village's Get This Money. Ooh. If anybody wants to look it up, that came from that phone call. He was so, and I knew it was something because the way he was so excited, and I respect Superfly's ear because he's a great producer, you know what I mean? So the way he called me, man, what is this that you're playing? I thought it was like, oh man, sorry. No. It was he was loving that record. So if anybody has a chance to look that up, look up that record. But tell me about this tour when you guys ended up going on tour.
Yeah, so I mean, J-Rock is like pretty much like the third member of J-Lib, which is, you know, Dilla and Madlib. At the time, so Dilla got sick. We didn't know how, you know, only the real closest people, like, you know, obviously like Jay, Madlib, Wolf, B+, just the inner circle. I was lucky, I got to the inner circle towards the end and stuff like that. But like, he was sick, and then there was a time where Madlib was going to go on the road, and he was going to bring Jay. Dilla was going to he was going to go on the road too, but he couldn't get Jay. And then for whatever reason, he reached out to me. And we always talked about like, hey man, if you need scratches, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And then next you know, I get a phone call. Hey man, I want you to go with me to Europe. Like that. I didn't know how sick he was until I saw him at the airport.
Oh, wow.
He was in a wheelchair and stuff like that.
Really?
Yes.
He still went out on tour, huh?
Yeah. It was crazy because he was like, he was doing dialysis and, you know, whatnot. And
so he knew he wasn't good, and he still went out there, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It was like
legendary, bro.
Yeah. You know, when I think about it, you know, in hindsight about it, it was like, it was his own ways, like, because he brought, Frank and Dank, which is like guys he grew up with, him and Fat Cat. Like, it's almost like, this is my last time. We went on November and December of 2005. He passed away in February of 2006. Wow. So it's like 2 months after. I think he knew. Yeah. In hindsight.
What did you do with him? Like what is give me like a breakdown. What is a Dilla show like? What did you guys put together?
Well, just because of he was in his wheelchair and he was really weak and stuff. So I made, you know, this is when Serato came out too. So I was able to get songs, you know, that were like, you know, like even use some of his beat tapes and stuff and play, you know, mixes and stuff. But I would format just knowing that, like, okay, he only has enough this time that he can really rap. And so I picked, like, at the time, whatever the hottest shit that people know about his stuff. If you watch, you know, it's on YouTube. There's one of his biggest shows that we did was in Paris, and people were like, it was like,
because Paris is big for hip hop, probably the biggest in Europe.
But it was so crazy how they were yelling Dilla, Dilla. Dude, it was so crazy. He was even tripping out on that. Yeah. But I formatted a show just to make sure that he, you know, just like maybe
the
20
main
minutes
songs he needed
to do
the big songs.
Yeah, in and out, and that's it.
And that's why you're a DJ. See, that's a smart thing to do, because that's what DJs think of. A lot of other people do different things, but I've always been a person of like, the most familiar things that you have out there is what needs to be presented, right? Because that's what's gonna get the most reaction. We're talking about Paris. I was very blessed to play Paris with Cypress Hill, Be Real by himself. I mean, that is just Europe is an amazing place to be for hip hop, especially Paris. Yes, Paris, Germany, really big for hip hop. What's your favorite spots that you've been to, or where hip hop has taken you?
Japan,
huh?
Japan is my number one, but of course Paris, London, Germany, Amsterdam.
Yeah, always fun. Oh yeah.
I mean, I've been lucky to go, like, I've been to Australia, been to South Africa, been to Brazil, been to Colombia. I mean, I've been lucky to go, places that,
hip hop is beautiful, man.
Yeah.
It took us all around the world.
Totally.
Rhett, how do you last this long in the game and still have, like, you're still into it and you still want to do it and you still care about it?
I still love it. I had to remind myself, why did I do this? It's the culture. It's the love. What this keeps me happy.
Right.
Sure. I think you can agree to this, is that, there might be, some of our peers and friends might be making more money, but I think I see the stresses. Whereas here, no matter what, this always brings a smile on my face.
Right.
Like I love the music. I love the culture. I still like to cut it up. I like to make beats. I still, like, knock on wood, still lucky to do, still to get to do it as a career. But, and like you said, you have to kind of like bob and weave and shift.
Yeah, but it has up and downs, that's for sure.
Yeah.
One thing I respect about the Beat Junkies is that you guys have always been what you're about. It's never been about you guys chasing fame or this is what's popular now, so let's shift this way or that. It's always been, this is the Beat Junkies, this is what you get. And I respect that, because, a lot of people, it gets tough when you last a long time. You almost feel you gotta, even like rappers, they'll try to chase a sound.
Right.
And then they get lost and then they try to come back to, you guys have always been straight up, we're DJs, we do hip hop. And whoever wants it, the smoke, we ready. we got the fire extinguishers. What you want to do, right? But that's always one thing that I respect about the Beat Junkies.
Thank you. I mean, again, it's just like being true to what we love, and the fact that we have a DJ school. If you asked us like 8 years ago, 10 years ago, like we're like, school?
Yeah.
But I think in terms of what you said, like you made a good point earlier, like how like it's time to give to the let the next generation.
Yeah.
I think hip hop is the only culture or music genre where it's like there's a disconnect between the younger generation and the older generation. And in order for our culture to survive, we have to share, right? And so with the school, like D Styles was the one that came up with the idea to like, let's open up a school. Because at first, we came from the era like you don't show your stuff because it's competition. You don't give your secrets away.
Yeah.
But he made a good analogy. This is like, what happens to all the champion boxers when they retire? They open up a school and teach the new generation.
That's true.
It's not saying that we retired. Instead of being the old guy, on the porch going like, you young whippersnappers,
yeah.
right?
You don't know.
You don't know. It's like, well, instead of just complaining, it's like, why don't we do something and try to give back? And honestly, it's a very what's the right word I could say?
That'd be gratifying.
Gratifying.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Because it's like you're giving, even if you show them your techniques, they can't do what you do. But the fact that you're able to show someone, and you have to, even though you become a teacher, you become a student again.
Yeah.
Because you have to learn how to like break it down to a point where, hey, this is how you pick up a needle, put it on a vinyl, right? And at the end of the day, it was like if we our culture to survive, the music, it's our duty to share the knowledge and stuff like that. And then not only we show them the techniques, we talk about the history. We talk about like mix masters. We talk about Cool Herc, Grandmaster Flash, Theodore. All the like even house DJs talking about Larry Levon and like from Juan Atkins and the Masters of Work. We tell them like, everything is connected to one another, but if you don't understand that's one thing. Babu said this good thing. We don't promise you a career, but we promise you a lifetime of passion.
Let me ask you, Rhett, if somebody wants to become a member of the Beat Junkie School, how does that work? How do you sign up for that? How do you?
Lately, we've been doing open houses where we invite people to come in, try it out, like a free class and stuff. And if they like it, we have them sign up for like intro to
What
DJ.
kind of people come in? You must have all kinds of different people, huh?
All kinds, from kids to, we had a judge.
Really?
A judge, like he graduated from our school. It was crazy because we used to see him walking. Who's this guy with a suitcase and then practicing? Found out he's a judge that was appointed by Obama. And
wow.
Yeah, and he always wanted to learn.
And he wanted to DJ, huh?
He always wanted to learn to DJ. He'd buy records when he was in college, but he never got to DJ. His DJ name's DJ Justice.
Wow, that's dope.
Yeah.
I love it.
And 70% of our students are women.
Okay.
And honestly, women pick it up quicker than guys.
Because they like music.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very natural to the ear. Yeah.
Yes. So I mean, we had everyone from like judges, we have mothers, we have like kids. One of them just entered the first battle last year and they won. They became LA DMC champion.
Really?
Yeah, and she's incredible.
Female.
Wow.
Wow, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
I remember back in the days, I used to do like some classes. I want to say, I don't know if you remember this spot that was in like Montebello. I think it was Astro, maybe.
Yeah.
Back in the days.
Yeah.
I think it was Astro. Yeah, it's one of those. But
or no, Astro was Exodus.
Exodus. Thank you. Yeah, you're right. Astro's on the San Fernando. Yeah. You're right. Exodus. It was Exodus. Yeah, and I used to go in there and on Sundays I would do like
I heard about
$20, $25 like lessons, and I would have like 5-6 people show up. Right, those kids, whoever came. I appreciate you guys because that really saved me at that time. Those little lessons on Sundays
we used to hear stories about like, yo man, I heard Tony G and Julio G over at Exodus.
Yeah,
I bought my Soren Vega PD18s from Exodus. Dude, so like,
those are great times. Yeah. Those are great times. Absolutely. Well, Brett, let me ask you, what equipment are you working on? What is your setup that you like?
DJ setup or production?
DJ.
Obviously I still have my 1200s, the Pioneer S11 mixer. I use phase just for backup. Needles wise, I still have my Shure Info 4Gs, but then I also have use the Junkies. Also use the Pioneer's PDX 1000s. So those I still have my turntables, but then if I have to use a controller, I use the Pioneer Rev 7, which is
okay. So you do controllers too now.
I mean, yeah.
You adapted to it basically.
Yeah. I mean, I like the controllers because it's still revolving like a turntable.
Yeah.
I mean, if I have to use the regular, yeah. I mean,
how do you feel about that? Because and I got to ask you because you've been through different phases. A lot of people they don't want to adapt. No, this ain't this and this ain't that. Now I've always told like, hey, bro, you can't stop technology.
Right.
Either you're gonna roll with it or you're gonna get left behind. So you choose. You could call it what you want. You want to stay as pure as you want and. That's fine, but I'm letting you know this ain't gonna wait on you. So just
So that's interesting that you say that because we used to be like, man,
what
you ain't keeping it real, man. Whatever.
Serato,
right.
Yeah, wax.
I mean, before it was like final scratching, and but really the person that really made us like, okay, there's no way about it. Like this is the shit was Jazzy Jeff.
Okay,
we judged a DJ battle that Shure was putting in, and Jazzy Jeff was hosting it, and we were like also doing a showcase, so we're practicing. He says like, you guys heard about Serato? It's like, yeah, we heard about it like that. We kind of saw it. We're just like, eh. He says, no, you got to fuck with this. Like, really? Then he brought his laptop, and then just see him doing all this shit,
Yeah.
But like, if he can do it, why can't we? Of course, it was kind of like a learning curve. You're used to like, you're picking up the needle and like, oh man, you
keep forgetting, yeah.
Yeah, forgetting. But once you get used to it, it's just the same thing. It's just a tool.
Yeah.
I prefer to still on turntables, but if I have to do controllers and even CD DJs, I'll do it. I won't do my best.
Right.
There's actually other people who are way better than me. They're like with technology now, they're doing so many crazy stuff,
loops and all kind of stuff going on. Yeah, I've seen some crazy stuff. It's great though because I've seen some very creative things.
Yes.
With sampling and filtering and
right.
And so it's really interesting.
Some of the ones that are doing crazy stuff, like a good example is A-Track and Craze. Mm-hmm. They transitioned from battle DJing into club DJing.
I love Craze. I think he's amazing.
Craze is like
A-Track too. Yeah.
Yeah, Craze is incredible, dude. Like he can still do it, and the fact that he was able to translate if he wants to. I've seen him done it on CD DJs. He still can get busy, right? But the difference is he came from the foundation of that, you know. Right. Like when I see you when you were DJing for Cypress, man, it was so dope to see you do It's Time, right? And then even when I love your old school routine of Planet Rock using the bonus beats.
Yeah.
And it, like in some ways, I want to say that the foundation of what you do, Qbert was doing the same thing, where you have the fader in the middle, you take a kick and a snare, and you made your own beat. Right. And we hear you.
Let me give the credit for where I got that from. I got that from Joe Cooley. Joe Cooley did that one day, and Joe was always really cool. because I was the youngest one of the mix masters when I became a mix master. I was 17, right? These guys were like 19, 20,
right?
And they were like, Joe Cooley was a legend at that point already to me. We all looked up to him, right? So now I'm in a room with him, Tony G, M Walk, Jammin' Gemini. So I'm around these really dope dudes. But Joe was always cool with me to like, hey, Hooley, you should do this. I remember one time Joe Cooley, I used to chase the record like this. Right. And Joe Cooley's like, hey, Hooley, you need to do it like this and grab the handle up here. It makes it look like it's even faster than it really is. But, and I went home and I was like, I learned how to like kind of bring it back. And then once I learned it, I'm like, oh,
dude, it's
so
time.
So whatever that it's time routine is, a lot of it has to do with it's a respecting to Joe Cooley, right? Because a lot of it has to do with the science that he showed me about that right there. Right. You know what I mean? But Joe was really cool with that. Tony showed me a whole lot too. But Joe would show me stuff, even M-Walk, you know what I mean? So we were all, you know how it is. We were a crew.
So he
wanted me to get better quicker, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like he was wanting, you're going to be part of us, man. We got to, I need you to do this, do it like this and try it like this. And so I give Joe a lot of credit. He was the first one that I see. I just added a little bit more things to it than what I seen him do, but that's where that idea came from, was actually from Joe Cooley.
That's crazy, because that's the thing, Joe, because I seen you hearing the Katie Mix Masters and seeing are two different things. Yeah. So it was very rare. So like rare to see you. It's rare, like growing up, I wasn't old enough to go out and see you guys. Couldn't, whether it be at Casa Camino Real or they won't. My parents won't let me go to skate.
Skateland and World on Wheels. No times. Not in the 80s, buddy. Not in the 80s. No. I will tell you, there was a night that we were at the Casa Camino Real and we all were there. We weren't always all there. There was this one night. And we all decided, live on the air. I wish I had a recording of it.
Was this during Saturday night?
No, it was a Saturday night. No, it was a Friday night live. We all were up there, and Joe was there, M-Walk, Tony, myself, and I don't know if Jammin' Gemini was there, but it was like us, and we decided to just, okay, we're going to cut up It's Time. And we all went for broke on it because everybody had their own little trip to it, you know what I mean? But I'll never forget that night because it was like, it's like we all, and then the crowd just, they used to love watching that. They wanted to see us break down Tour de France or It's Time. They wanted to. So they were all like, oh, all the big smashes are up there.
That's what I'm saying.
We all went 1-to-1 and everybody jumped on and got busy. I'll never forget that night. That was really, really cool. I'm really blessed to have been around those guys. Those guys were just amazing to be around. I want to ask you, Rhett, real quick, a favorite era of hip hop for you, just your personal. What's your era?
Oh, well, obviously the 80s, but, of course the 90s, maybe because
the 90s, huh?
Well, 80s and 90s.
Okay.
Just two-tier answers. 80s because that's like, discovering it, like listening to you guys, listening to, like whatever you guys were bringing from New York to play over here.
Incredible hip-hop, too, in the 80s.
Right. Raw shit.
Raw, bro.
And then, but the thing is, you guys were also not only playing hip-hop, you're playing freestyle, you're playing funk. Yeah. Electro or whatever you want to call it, but you guys were playing everything. That's our
New Jack Swing,
all
that came through 1580K.
Yeah, everything.
Even freestyle, when people don't understand that came through 1580K. Also, all those freestyle records.
Come on, you guys broke Trenier, you broke Nusera.
Bro, we used to play World of Power, Dreaming.
Come on
1580K.
Come on,
those records are big. Dude, that's because we were getting the Hispanics at that time. And we were trying to grow the whole station and just kind of not just be about Kool Mo D and LL Cool J.
No, you played everything.
We played all of it. So we were able to get it all off and balance it out.
You had the High Energy show.
Yep.
You had the Mix Master show. You had, was it Friday Night Live or Saturday Night Live? Mm-hmm. You had, obviously, the Traffic Jam, the morning show,
the quick
mix and stuff like that.
Russ Parr in the morning and Greg Mack in the afternoon, and it was going down.
You had everything, and you played anything that was dope. You guys played it, and that was the thing that for us as the Junkies and a lot of DJs that we got our taste because of K-Day.
Right.
If it wasn't for K-Day, really,
that was hip hop. That was the whole hip hop
straight
thing.
Up.
Yeah.
So as a fan, 80s.
Okay.
As someone that's felt like has been active now and part of it, the 90s.
Okay. Rhett, I know that you are into jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Yes, sir.
How did you get into Brazilian jiu-jitsu? Because I seen you, and you lost a lot of weight. I will tell you that, because as I seen you into it,
Right.
I would see you, and you started telling me, "Oh, I'm doing jiu-jitsu." I said, "Damn, right, man, you lost a lot of weight. Good for you, man."
Man, thank you. I started when I was 45, so I started late. I was overweight. A couple of things, like, you know, like doctor was telling me, like, you know, your blood pressure is close before, you know, like you're gonna need to change your diet and style. And then, you know, you had people like at the time you didn't know it, cats were trolling you on Instagram or social media. So it was like, they know who you are, but you don't know who it is. So it's like, I want to learn a little self-defense. And then the person that really, one of the persons that really got me into was Rocca from Dilated.
Okay.
Dilated Peoples and stuff, because he actually trained with the Gracies.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember him telling me that. Yeah.
So he was the one that actually first kind of, you know, like introduced me to it, but I wasn't ready then. And then as I got older, and then it's like, I was like, let me try it again. And then from then I just got hooked.
I remember when I seen you were doing it, and I remember I seen you somewhere one day, and I said, "Hey, Rhett, how you doing with that, man?" He, "Oh, I'm doing great, man." I said, "Hey, man, I need you to touch up a couple people for me. I'm too old right now. Can you
I'm not.
Can you touch a couple people up for me, Rhett?" No, the reason I ask you though is my grandson, my oldest grandson, he's into jiu-jitsu, and he loves it. Yeah, and he loves it, man. What have you gotten out of it though, like itself, jiu-jitsu?
It in terms of just like, besides my, you know, changing my lifestyle, it gave me, like, you know, clarity in terms of, you know, another passion. It actually helped me become a better person, if that sound, not to sound cliche. Like, it taught me, like, your ego is not your amigo. You know, the concepts also helped me in terms of teaching, DJing.
Okay.
You know, like I would always say, hey, everybody wants to be a black belt, but you got to start, you know, you got to be a white belt and go through the process. Because even if you become a black belt, you're still a student. So, and I just noticed that also, like, you know, like, sometimes you're the hammer, sometimes you're the nail. Sometimes, you know, you got the person, sometimes they get you. And it's like, it's never the same thing. It's always different. So, and it humbles you to, like, all right, well, I messed up here. What can I learn from that?
Right.
So
did it give you confidence?
yes.
Because you now you feel you can defend yourself. That's what I mean by confidence. Did it give you that, like, out of it? Like, I'm not, like, in a fearful way. Like, I'm not fearing things. If something comes my way, I'm ready to deal with it.
I mean, for the most part, it also taught me, like, avoid conflict.
Okay.
It was like, you know,
That's the main thing, huh?
yeah, just man, I don't want to fight, you know, but
if you want smoke, I'll twist your ass up. I'll twist that leg up in your arm.
I don't know about that.
Nah, man, because I'm telling you, my little grandson will come over and he'll be like, "Grandpa," I'm like, "Hey, man." I'm like, "Yo, bro." He's like, "I got you, man."
Let me try this on you,
"Yeah,
Grandpa.
Grandpa, come here." Boom, boom, boom. I'm like, "Hey, man." I'm like, "Hold on, little man. You're doing too much." But yeah, I really do love it for him, and I'm glad to see you because you look great, man. You know what I mean?
Oh, man,
it's a good thing. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
so thank you, Rhett, for coming. I appreciate you, man. This has been fun. And we definitely got to do a round two because you got so much stuff to talk about. But I wanted to get you on because I definitely want the Beat Junkies to represent. I mean, it's Westside Radio.
It's an honor, man, because I'm used to just like, what do you want me to do, Julio? What do you want me to do? Yeah, I got you. All right, go. Okay, go. Yeah. No. So even to get interviewed by you is, you know, because like I said, like, just to be able to, you know, just the DJ for you on the radio stations and seeing you at work and how you do your interviews, just listening to you do the interviews, it just brings me back when, you know, on the radio.
Yeah.
And it's great how you conduct it and bring so much history out of it. And
that's what I want to do with this podcast because I think it's important. I think we don't document LA that much. And when we do, you have a lot of people saying things that just ain't really that true or exaggerating certain things and not really giving the props where it's deserved. So I come from the beginning, so it's a little more easier for me to say, oh no, this is the person and that's the person.
Well, what's interesting, I think you're like in the middle because you are from the original like you're part of the original version of us growing up listening, but you also were able to connect with the newer version.
Oh yeah.
You kind of in some ways bridged the gap. I mean, you were just talking about, like, you know, one of the podcasts, how, like, you know, you brought Lil Wayne and Cash Money.
First time.
You know, I remember when you had J-Rock, when we were at K-Day, you brought J-Rock.
Yeah.
And then
TDE. The beginning of TDE was through Julio G.
You were playing, I mean, this the interesting thing part is, like, this is why, you know, got to give you flowers because you from our generation, but you also keep your ear to the street to see what's hot.
Oh yeah.
You know, and even if you're not on radio, you still keep your ear. You know.
I still when I hear talent, I just enjoy it. So it's just like it's easy for me to like. Oh, I think this kid is hot. That's why I just post somebody on my IG. Is like I think this dude is dope.
No,
boom. You know what I mean?
And you still doing
that? That's part of my. That's just being a DJ to me. It's just like it's natural to you too. It's just like when you hear something dope, your idea as a DJ is like I want to play this.
Right. But the respect that you got. I mean, I know already, just because I know along you, but just it's really dope to see how even from the newer generation, like I saw that was DJ Head was giving you props, like, oh, it wasn't for Julio G, and it's like, I know that guy.
Yeah. But I supported them when they started too, and I think it just comes back to you. I've never been like that. Like I always like to give props to. They were up and coming too.
Right.
One day I jumped on with them, and I was giving them props on their little homegrown radio they were doing on online. Just this is before people really knew Head and Chuck and all them. So I went on one day and it's like, hey, y'all getting down. I like this. I'm watching it from the crib, and they're like, damn, that's Julio G, Westside Radio. So they felt like I kind of stamped them a little bit because I was on, and then I ended up coming to do their show when they were doing a little small apartment, and so I've always been like supportive of people. So I think it all comes back. So I'm very blessed for that.
But you deserve your flowers.
Yeah, no, thank you. I'm very blessed. I've been so blessed. Hip hop has been so good to me, so I cannot complain, man. But thank you, Rhett. Like I said, thank you for coming, man. And one more time, Beat Junkie School. How could they get down with it and be part of it?
So you can go to our website www.beatjunkiesound.com. Mm-hmm. You can follow us on Instagram, BeatJunkieIOS. Or or you can go to the school. We're
what city is it in? Glendale?
Glendale.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I mean, Babu, Mr. Chalk, myself, J-Rock, Melody once in a while.
Yeah, all the best.
Yeah, when he's not too busy making pizzas and stuff.
That's right, all the best. That's right, man. So check it out, Julio G, Westside Radio, DJ Rhettmatic. You know what it is, man. Of course, more coming your way, more podcasts coming your way. And do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, please. That's what we need to do, all right, man?
Best podcast right now.
Let's get it, man. Julio G, that's right, Westside Radio.
We brought the hood to the west side. Westside Radio.